Good afternoon, welcome to the Empowered Life channel. My name is Yvonne. This channel is about bringing you content that is empowering, inspiring and encouraging. If this is your first time to this channel, be sure to have a look at my other videos, hit the like button and subscribe so you can be updated on when I upload new content. If you've come to this channel before and have never subscribed, please subscribe and support me on my journey as I go about the empowered life. Now, it has been just an amazing couple of weeks. In my last video, I shared with you how I struggled to even read one book a month at the moment because I've been busy honouring contracts and doing some consultancy work to build my business. But in the last 10 days, I have been on a roll. I have read 2 books in the last 10 days, and one of them I'm going to review today, and it is by somebody called Charly Ngouh. Now, if you have checked out my last video, or if you haven't, I will leave it in the description box below. I met Charly Ngouh nearly 2 Fridays ago on King's Road in Chelsea. Now, that is one of my favourite places to go. And one day I hope to own a house on there, you know, but basically I was in Chelsea. But one of the reasons why I was absolutely blown away by meeting him is because he is an author like myself. And it's very few and far between that I actually know real life authors, people who have not just had the manuscript sitting in their drawer, they've actually got it into a book and they've got it published. I was inspired to meet him and it was just a wonderful meeting. And I did a quick interview with him. As I mentioned, I'll leave the video in the box below, in the description box below. And just to hear about his journey, you know, we're both self-published authors, and how the ways that we've both gone about selling our books have been completely different. And I left that meeting with him feeling actually really inspired to try and do what he was doing, which is to go around different parts of London selling his book, and just doing it in the most unconventional way. And it was just inspiring talking to him. But his book is called How I Won My War: The Inspiring Journey of a Lone Soul. So this book is about Charly's journey through life, and more importantly, how he went, like everybody, we all have challenges and things that we go through in life. But what is essentially wonderful about Charly's book is how he managed to get through his challenges. The story starts right at the beginning when he was growing up in Cameroon. He comes from, I think, one of 6 siblings, and his parents, he was born into marriage with his parents. He's fluent in 4 languages, including, I think his native tongue is Batil, but also French, German and English. This book is his 2nd edition of the book. Reason being is that in this edition, he's added photos from different times in his journey, and he's also got a French edition of his book. So right at the beginning, you know, what I love about Charly's book is that he draws the reader into the story. Before we even get into the story, the things that he says to the reader, you know, trying to kind of connect with them, and drawing them into the story is really, really good. And I really felt like right from the beginning, he was taking me on a journey with him. So his journey, the inspiring journey of a lone soul, is really about how he faced his challenges and being honest about the challenges he faced. He grew up in a family home. There were times where he was beaten by his mum, and that was very, very difficult to read, because I think in most African cultures, Jamaican cultures, especially the generations that we've come from, I mean, Charly's in his middle 30s, I'm in my 40s, the kind of beatings that were administered as children by our parents was quite brutal. So it was a little bit difficult in places for me to read about that and how that affected him in certain ways, which you'll read about in the book. I did find that quite difficult. But nevertheless, he's quite honest about his upbringing. He had a real love and fondness for his dad. He did love his mum, but what's evident from where he spoke, he really did look up to his father. right from the beginning, being 6 years old, it was clearly evident that Charly is a dreamer. And that is an essential thing that you need to do what he is doing now, which is being an entrepreneur, selling his book in an unconventional way all around London. But he shares that how when he went to the airport at 6, seeing those big planes on the runway, and how, you know, he was fascinated by them. He absolutely loved them. And he had a dream one day of being able to go on a plane. That day did finally come. He came through an opportunity that presented itself. He was from maybe 16, 17, he was working for his father's exotic reptile business, where they transported exotic pets all over the world. And that required him having to learn a new language. And from then we saw how he really took a real zeal, a real go-getting attitude in doing that. He got tapes from his an old teacher or a lecturer for German, and started to learn them. And then when the opportunity presented itself where he had to go to Germany, he got to use what he learned. And when the person met him, you know, he was saying to him, you know, if you'd like me to speak in English, that I can do that. But Charly was like, no, I want you to speak to me in German, because he was looking on it as a learning curve. This was a perfect time to put into practice all the things that he learned in relation to speaking German. And it's very clear and very evident from early on in the book, his attitude towards doing things. He never takes the easy way out. He is somebody that faces challenges head on. If it means learning something new, if it means trying something new, he's willing to do that. You know, he was getting bullied when he was younger. He went to do kickboxing. You know, he wanted to be able to communicate with clients. He learns German. Everything that he does, he always flips it onto a positive side. Charly is somebody who is a risk taker. He is somebody that is able to rise to challenges. Sometimes, you know, he had made poor decisions, and like with any of us as humans, we all make poor decisions. You know, it's not just exclusive to him. You know, and some of those poor decisions had real dire consequences for him in certain areas of his life. But rather than be bitter about it, he used it as an opportunity to learn and grow, even in the face of injustice, even in the face of when things didn't go according to plan. He always tried to adapt to get to where he needed to go, and that is very much clear in his story. Sometimes his zeal for trying new things sometimes would get him into trouble. So he talks about, you know, when he was in the army, how the sergeant had asked a group of them if they could swim. He couldn't swim, but he put his hand up anyway. And obviously in doing that, when he got into the swimming pool, he nearly drowned because he just couldn't swim. And he learned from that, you know, that wasn't the best thing to do, and kind of looked at the reasons why he did it. But what he did after that was to go and learn to swim, and now he can swim. And this is what I'm saying about him. He is somebody that rises to whatever challenges, whatever obstacles. When people didn't have faith in him, he had faith in himself. When he came over to Cambridge to study, his father had been supporting with fees and with general help, sending money and stuff. And then there was a time where his father decided to cut that off and no longer support him. And, you know, I must say that even when things didn't go right with his father, and even when he was working really, really hard for his father's business, he still wasn't getting paid like he should have been getting paid, even as an employee, because he was doing most of the work. He never dishonoured his father. He was always humble before his father. He still honoured his father. And this just speaks volumes to his character. And even when his father didn't support him anymore and send support in forms of money while he was studying Cambridge, he did feel a bit down in himself. And I must say, it's only twice in the book I really see when he's really gone into himself, felt really down. We all go through that. When things happen to us, we feel, why me, and stuff like that. But no sooner has he gone through that, whether it's a word from a friend or somebody, he bounces back, no more than 24 hours later or whatever, and gets on with it and gets back focused. So what he did in that situation was that he got a job and supported himself through college, through his studies and everything. So, you know, again, it just shows a lot about his character. What you will get from this book, besides an amazing story, here is somebody who started in Cameroon to coming to serve in the British Army, to working for one of the best hotels in the world, and in London, the Savoy Hotel, and the people that he got to rub shoulders with, and the things that, the nuggets of conversation that he shares in this book, you know, was really insightful. No matter what it is you get from his story, besides a fantastic life story, is empowerment in action. Here is somebody, if you're somebody that wants to know how you can use challenges and issues to your advantage and to bounce back bigger and better, you need to read Charly's book. It is a fantastic example of resilience in action, what risk taking looks like, what personal difficulties look like, what reflection looks like, what learning from mistakes looks like. And in everything that he's gone through, he has never displayed in his work, in this book, bitterness towards anybody, even when he faced injustice, even when he faced things that weren't right. So this is why I would say buy this book. This is an example. This is somebody who is an example. I find him inspiring. I feel like he's an example to me. I can resonate. There was parts of his story that I really resonated. He says, "It's funny I found how being different can actually be used as an advantage. The most important thing as I discovered through this experience and others is not to be bitter, but to turn anger into a source of inspiration or motivation." This sums up his story, the story of the inspiring story of a lone soul. Using whatever life has thrown at you, injustice, or things that should make you angry, things that should make you down, and using them as stepping stones to bigger things. I have done that in my own life. Charly has done that in his own life. This is what this book is about. You know, it's about inspiration and motivation. If we were to turn the things that have been done to us and turn them inside, it could leave a person with depression. It could leave me depressed. It could have left Charly depressed. But no, it is that thing about being resilient. It's about refusing to lose. There are so many parts of his book that just resonated with me, and I'm sure that they would resonate with you. But I want to leave you with this, what he wrote here. "Things were never that straightforward in my life. Nothing ever came to me in a straight line." And that really has been his journey. His journey has been zigzags all over the place. Nothing been in a straight line. But you know what? He never made any of that deter him from seeking to pursue his goals and dreams. When I met him, he said to me, he has joy. He right now in his life, he feels joy. He gets joy from what he does, and that really is what the empowered life is about. It's about getting joy from it. Whether life serves you straight lines or crooked lines or curveballs, it is about using those experiences to bring inspiration and motivation to empower you to live the empowered life. So please buy this book. It is a great read. I will leave the link in the description bar below, and I shall see you on the next video.